Okay, well, look, just to start off, welcome to Maynooth University Launchpad. As Gemma said, my name is Jennifer Bolton, and this is Ruth, my colleague. We are both the student budgeting advisors here in Maynooth University. And as Ruth has said before, there are only 3 in the country, and Maynooth University has 2. So we are very serious about supporting our students financially. And we believe that, healthy financial well-being also affects our physical and mental health as well. So we're very serious about it. So there you are. That's somebody having a very distressed kind of a day, that face. When we're very worried about money and stuff like that, it can really affect us. And so we're going to go through today and have a little look at what can help you while you're in college. So the Student Budgeting Advice Service, what do we actually do? We give one-to-one service for all students. We support with budgeting for university and managing your money. And then we can also give advice on fees, grants and social welfare entitlements, SUSI as well. And then internal and external funding and supports. So please come and have a chat with us. Now, one of the main concerns that you may have when you first come into university, and we had a lot of this in our last chat, is in relation to fees. So just to let you know, you do have 2 types of fees. You have the free fees scheme. If you're eligible for that, you won't even know about it. The government pays the first 3,000. It's paid automatically to the university. You don't even have to think about it. And then the second fee there is a student contribution, and that is 3,000. You can get a SUSI grant for that. Some of it might pay for half of it or all of it, and then you might get a maintenance, but I will go into that in a little bit. And then the student levy. That's for every student, whether you're SUSI or non-SUSI, and that's €150, and you have to pay that during registration. We do say if you are having difficulty paying that $150, just to contact fees and let them know, but make sure you pay the $150 by the time you are going into next year, or you won't be able to register. Just in that student contribution section, if you do not have SUSI, fees do look for the first instalment in September and then the second instalment in January, but there are options to do monthly or weekly payments, and you can chat to fees about that. There is a form on their website that you can apply to. Now, that's your SUSI. So as I said, if you do have SUSI for your fees, it can be broken down into that paying the student contribution and then maintenance. So the student contribution part, you can get half of student contribution, that's 1,500, or you can get the full contribution paid, which is 3,000. And then if you're eligible, you can get a maintenance grant. That will be given per month, and your first payment this year is the 8th of October. I had to look that up, so I know I'm right. So this is a very large table, and it can be a little bit overwhelming when you're looking at it at home, but it is important. But I'll go over the main elements. So when it comes to the maintenance, you can get a higher rate of maintenance if you're over 45 kilometres from the college, or a lower maintenance when you're under 45 kilometres from the college. And that's not your rented accommodation in university, that's your actual home address. Okay, then you have dependents, so you have 0 to 3 dependents in a household, and then your income the income limits go up if there's 4 to 7 or 8 or more, depending on your household, and if that changes throughout the year as well. If there's a new family member, a little boy or a little girl, that can be a change of circumstances, and that can, again, you can look at that for pushing up that household limit. And then that last column there is if there's another person, another dependent in your household who is in further or higher education. Again, that can push up the household income limit by 4,830 or 4,670. Now, that household income might sound a bit strange. What does that actually mean? A lot of the questions I get is that including my sister who's living with us, who's not in college, but pays my mum and dad rent? No, it literally includes the student and the legal guardian or the legal guardians. That could be you and your mum, you and your dad, or you and your mum and dad, depending on your situation, or you and somebody, whoever is your legal guardian in the household. Everybody's situation is completely different. Okay, and then you can see as it goes this way downwards, the higher the income threshold for the household, the less SUSI support you receive. So the last one there is that 50% tuition, so that's the 1,500, and then it goes up higher and higher with more maintenance. Okay, now if you feel like something's gone wrong in your SUSI assessment, it could be in those areas, that 45k and over, the 0 to 3 dependents, somebody else in further or higher education, or you think that your household income limit has been added up incorrectly. Come and have a chat with us. We'll have a look at it for you and we can advise you best. Now, for all these newbies who are starting their journey, you may not be able to imagine going on to do your postgraduate, or the opposite, you have a clear, straight path ahead, knowing that you're going to do postgraduate. So just to let you know, if you are on SUSI, postgraduate can be also covered as well, depending on your SUSI. So if you're on that special rate, the highest rate there of 24,500 and under, with that long-term social welfare payment in that household income, either your legal guardian or yourself, you can get up to 6,270 plus maintenance. Or if it's not the long-term social welfare payment in the household, you can get a contribution to 3,500. So it is something to consider. If you are thinking about it, make sure that you're popping into us a year previous to your postgraduate to have that chat with us. And here's some information there about SUSI. So you have the SUSI website, you have a grant eligibility criteria, which is great to have a look at. You have the eligibility reckoner. I'm sure that a lot of people have gone through this already, and the big one there is your appeal, which is you've got 30 days to appeal their decision. So you get your SUSI letter, you're not happy with the outcome and you're going, here, what's the story here? I thought I was at least going to get, maintenance plus my tuition fees, and SUSI are writing back to me and telling me I'm getting nothing, for example. Make sure when you are appealing, you're appealing based on what their system is on their appeals page. Okay, so have a good look at it. Look at the grounds for appeal, pick one that suits you and appeal it that way. Okay, you can always come to us as well so we can have a chat. Okay, if the appointment is over those 30 days, just email us and let us know what you're doing and that you need a quicker appointment. Okay, and we can go through that for you. The change of circumstances there. So what SUSI do is they look at your previous year. So for this year, they've looked at your 2020 income. So if something happens within that in 2021, maybe one of your legal guardians have lost their job, or there's a permanent loss of income within the household, you can put in change of circumstances there, and they'll review your family or your income, your household income, which again is the legal guardians and the student, for 2021. Okay, and that can make a big difference if there's been a big change in the circumstances and the income between this year and last year. You can also put in change of circumstances for non-related income, and again that's where I was talking about that extra kid in the household or something like that. Okay, and your holiday earnings, very, very, very important, guys. If you're on SUSI, make sure that you download that application, and when you're working at Easter, during the summer and at Christmas, that you get your bosses to fill that out, so that when you're applying for SUSI again, you can put that in and they will not consider up to 4,500 as part of your income threshold. Is that all right, Ruth?
Just jumping in there, just to say to the guys, I don't know if you're aware, there is a chat button where you can pop any questions you have. I'm sitting here ready and waiting, so Jenny doesn't get too distracted, because I know I did when I was doing my talk this morning and she was laughing at me. I was going, oh, that's a really good question, I want to answer it now. But and also, if you want and you're happy to put on your mic and ask a question, you can just put up your hand if you see the little smiley face and a hand just at the top of your screen. Feel free to do that. We're really, really happy to have questions. And just one point to add to your last holiday earnings bit. You don't have to, oh, we've got some other question. Sorry, see, I get so excited. You don't have to submit the SUSI form if you have kept all your pay slips from the period that you worked.
That's right.
No, that's fine. It's just sometimes easier to get pay slips than to go back to an employer. I'm going to let Jenny. Do you want to take that question now? Or do you want to put your question in the chat, Natasha?
Natasha, do I have to unmute you, or can you unmute yourself? No, you can mute.
Yeah, I can unmute myself. So, hi guys. Just a quick, Ruth, you kind of answered it a little bit there. So if I keep my pay slips for that whole summer or Easter, is it, or is it a whole year?
So if you're in first year, you're looking at January 2022, you start keeping them. This.
But if you worked last summer, if you worked in 2020, you can still submit them.
Okay, but
if they're in first year. If they're going into first year.
If you have a student coming straight into first year from another education, so from a QQI, PLC, or from school, yeah, you have to have education on either side. That's where I'm confusing Jenny as usual. My way of explaining things always addles people's brains. But if you're in education before the holiday period and after the holiday period, so if you came straight from your Leaving Cert into your course, then any work that you carried out in 2020, because you were in full-time education on either side, you can look at putting in your pay slips. I would recommend having a look at the holiday earnings sheet that Jenny mentioned on the SUSI website, simply because it lists all the time. So it's usually 2 weeks at Easter, 2 weeks at Christmas and the summer. So term time, everything counts. Holiday periods, you can get up to 4,500 reduced, so long as you tell SUSI when you earned, what you earned. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so basically so just say for next year, like I'll be reapplying for SUSI for my second year. So I'd download that form, or it'll ask for my payslip for the summer, because I'd probably be working a lot more during the summer.
Absolutely.
And they'll take that into account rather than like put my income up because I was working during the summer now.
Yeah, 100%. Once it's, if it's past that 4,500, it is counted as income. Not many people will reach that, so that's fine. Just about that term time as well. I always say to students, if they are looking to do minimal part-time work, because that's all we endorse, during term time, you can always come to us and have a chat and look at your SUSI and look and see how that's going to affect you, because term time is counted into your SUSI income. But that holiday periods, and it is important to look at the form, because it is official holiday periods from your university. So it's not necessarily like, oh, I finished in February, but the university finished in the end of May, so do have a look at that. And look at the periods that they say, and just keep your pay slips or get your employer at the time to fill out that form. So that's what my advice would be. Is that okay, Natasha?
Yeah, thanks very much.
Great. So that's just information on SUSI. We do always advise, if you are getting in contact with SUSI, to try and use that email. It is handy to phone them, but the good thing about the email is that you have it on record, what they're giving or what they're saying and what advice they're giving to you. So before I move on, is there any other questions about SUSI that you have, that anyone wants to inquire about? Because it is a funny one if you do have SUSI. Sometimes there's lots to kind of addle your head with. You're okay. We had a lot of questions today, kind of about what do you do when you want to register and they're asking you for like they're asking you for fees, and you may not have heard back from SUSI yet, or you have heard from SUSI and you don't really know what's going on. So I spoke to Ruth about this as well, and we said that the best option is to contact fees and let them know that either you do have SUSI or you're waiting on SUSI, and then just to try and pay that 150 student registration levy, or at least pay installments of that 150 if that's very difficult for you. So that would be advice around that. So now, essential costs. Well, this is essential for some. So some people might choose to rent, and we do have Home Finder there. At the moment, it's pretty tough, and we know that. And it's very hard for us as well, as student budgeters, to kind of hear that. And students are having a tough time kind of trying to find rented places, and it brings on a lot of stress. So we do understand that, but we are here if you need any advice, and Home Finder is great. Have a look at that, and you can email them as well. But that is something to think about. You know, are you going to look for a place that has a room that the rent includes all the bills, or are you going to take a place maybe with 3 or 4 people? If you are, you have to budget for your bills that will come maybe every like 2 months. So that's something to consider there. But again, we're here for you guys, you know, to give you advice on that and to help you. And then travel, so you have that private and public transport. You have also that you can apply for your LEAP card. You're in the MSU. They're doing it at the moment. So you just walk into the lobby there. It's great. It gives you a lot of reductions. And then that car sharing option. Again, it's a bit funny now with COVID, but if you do have somebody that you feel comfortable with to get in a car and is in your area, you can help them with a little bit of petrol, and you can have a chat as well. Or vice versa, you have the car and you might be able to get somebody in the car with you and help you with the petrol. So that's a great option. There is private buses that go from different places like Drogheda and Tala, and do have a look out for them because they can be a great option. And then of course you have your LEAP card if you're going inside the Dublin area. And then books, printing and stationery. I know that the HERE students get help with the books and printing. You can use the My Card, as far as we are still aware, in the library and in the Students' Union. The Students' Union is, so what I hear was cheaper last year than the library. So we hope that's still going ahead. So for anyone who's here, you'll be getting that My Card and you'll be able to use it, which is great, not to have to worry about that. We do hear some people buying hoodies with their My Card, so you know, just remember that you do have expenses all through the year. So you might want to keep it for the printing. And then medical expenses. Here in Maynooth University, we have a great medical centre. It's amazing. You have a GP who will be coming soon, so we're told, and we have 2 nurses, a psychiatric nurse on site there, and that's all free of charge. So if you're not feeling well for any reason, they are brilliant. They're non-judgmental and they have seen it and heard it all. They've been in the medical centre a long time, so nothing shocks them. So please, if you're not feeling well for any reason, pop in, have a chat with them. They're really great. And if there is any kind of extra, you know, blood tests or anything, it is minimal amount, or at least there is a charge, but it's, you know, they try and keep it as low as possible. And then your grocery shopping. So yes, healthy, healthy, healthy. You know, this is your chance, guys, to show your parents or show your legal guardians or whoever, show yourself that you can become Delia Smith, or, you know, somebody like that, and get that cooking book or get online and start practicing some really nice, you know, comfort, healthy food. It's going to be cheaper for you guys. It's going to be healthier for you. And, you know, your money won't be all gone on takeaways by the time, you know, the end of October comes. All right, so do have a look at that. We would advise that you eat healthy, and maybe, you know, even cutting down on, you know, buying lunches out. You know, think about bringing your lunches in. We just heard today that there won't be any microwaves, more or less, on campus. However, you know, you can bring soups in little containers that keep them warm, and sandwiches and things like that. Do you have something to say, Ruth? Is there about the microwave? Sorry, no, so I thought you went I thought you took off your mic there, sorry.
I was just distracted because I'm multitasking here. But
that's okay.
Also, yeah, we don't know for definite about the microwaves, so I would be planning your healthy lunches around kind of what doesn't need
cold healthy lunches
for September, October anyway. But
get yourself a nice steak sandwich. You know, you can eat that cold. That's fab. Steak and cheese and lettuce and tomato. I'm telling you.
Stop.
Telling you, lads, you know, get your cooking out. Get yourself a nice knife and start chopping vegetables, not anything else. Now, other possible costs. So this is something to consider depending on your course. So you might have placements for block weeks, field trips. Now, Susie do pay for them, but you do have to have the money up front. You pay for it first, you get your receipt, and then you claim it back from Susie. So that's something to consider. Again, come to us if you have any issues. Course materials, lab coats and software, cost for science labs, depending, design your special laptop and camera. Clubs and societies, great. If you don't find one you like, create one. We would advise to try and get, to spend your money on that sort of stuff, because that is a great way to meet people and, really enjoy your time in university. So definitely have a look at that. And then your Erasmus year. So that is, there is a grant, and it doesn't have any implications on your household income, but it does happen. The first payment is in December, so that's something to consider. You'll have those first 3 months of flights, accommodation, and kind of food and travel. It's definitely doable. We have lots of students that do it, and there is financial supports if you're eligible that we provide for you, even though you're away. So that is something to to note. But if you are planning to go there, definitely come and have a chat with us now, and we can kind of advise you on what to do and how to save for that year. But it is a great year. And then the second installment would be when you come back. So it is something to consider there. Just on books, by the way, as first years, a lot of people think that they have to buy all the book list. Do not buy any of the books. Buy 1 or 2 that you really think you need, and your lecturer is really, really insisting on it. But there is different ways of doing it. I know that the ambassadors will go through that again with you, because they're students themselves. But in the library, there's lots of ways to rent the books there, take them out, print chapters that you might need, or download a few books or whatever. And secondhand, there's always secondhand. So definitely don't go running off and buying that book list, or you'll be crying tears by the end of the semester looking at them when they haven't been touched. And the social welfare option, I'm not sure if there is anybody in this talk that this might affect, but there is back to education allowance. What we would say is that you would come and have a chat with us if you are thinking about being on back to education allowance, or you're unsure you made the right decision, and we can go through what you were on before and if the back to education allowance is the best option for you, or vice versa. We can say, look, you're on this payment, back to education allowance might be better for you. But we can definitely advise you on that. We would say, for example, for one parent family, it's better to stay on that than go on to back to education allowance. So do have a little chat with us about that if you're unsure. And then what we offer. So one of the services that we offer obviously is managing your money, regardless of what you're on. But what we do offer as well is the student assistance fund. So if we feel that students are struggling and they might be eligible for this, after our chat, we will put them forward for it. It's for students who are in a little bit of financial difficulty, or finding the everyday costs of college difficult. That would be, the traveling, the food, maybe rent and bills, even printing, things like that. Or if there's something that you have to get, for college. I'm sorry if you can hear my kids. I'm not sure if you can. They are there. So sorry about that. There's a little background noise. So if you're finding any of those everyday things difficult, do get on to us again. It's through us, so you would meet with us, and through that chat we would kind of gauge whether you'd be eligible, and then we put you through for that. So some of the criteria is that you can be a full or part-time registered student, but you have to be registered. It is means tested, but if you have SUSI, then that means test has already been done for us, and students can apply more than once. So just because you receive it once doesn't mean you can't come back. You can, and we'd be very happy for you to come back to us. Sorry, my slides are gone mad again. And again, that is through us, through the student budgeting advice service. Hopefully Ruth will put that into the chat so you have it, access to our page and everything like that. I would say, I would say if you're on SUSI, don't rule yourself out. And if you're not on SUSI, don't rule yourself out. Come chat with us and we'll tell you. All right. And then a couple of other great funds that we have is the Student Emergency Fund. Again, that is through us. You would come and have a chat with us, and if we deem you eligible for that, we will put you through, but it is for unexpected emergencies. And again, it is through us. And then that short-term loan, which is great for anybody who, and I have done this myself, you know, gone to college without your wallet and realised that you don't have any money. And how can you feed yourself, get yourself a cup of coffee, or even get home? So this is a great way of going to organise yourself that way. So you go up to the hub, which is, you know, accessible now in the Student Services building, follow the yellow feet, and you can ask them for a short-term loan. It can be up to 50, but you can take a tenner or 20, whatever you need, and you do need to repay that. That's the only thing you need to repay. So the emergency fund and the student assistance fund is, you don't need to pay back, but that short-term loan is something that you can just access if, like I said, you've lost your wallet or you just don't have any money today, but you know that you will have a bit of money in a couple of days or whatever, and you can pay that back. Okay, so you go to the emergency hub for that, or to the hub for that short-term loan. And then there's the laptop loan scheme, which is great. There is a criteria to that, and there is a separate application process, which is online. You can apply for that. I'm not sure when that is open, Ruth. We're not 100% sure of that yet, are we?
We haven't got a date, but it is due to open this month.
Yeah.
So what I'd be saying to you is, keep an eye on the laptop loan link. At the bottom of that slide, I'm sorry, that's my fault, we have emailed the access office. Please don't do that, because they will be inundated and Gemma will come and get me. But effectively, just have a look on the Money Matters webpage. I put that link in a couple of times into the chat. The laptop loan page is part of that page. So just click on it, and as soon as it's open, but you can use the laptop in the library in the meantime if you're stuck.
Yeah. So you can see there that your family must have a gross family income under that 45,790. Again, that is, it does change, I think, according to your dependents, as far as I know, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. No? Yeah, it does, yeah. Again, like Susie, 0 to 3, 4 to 7 dependent. So if you are in a 4 to 7 dependent household, you can have a look at the criteria there at the laptop loan scheme. That is not through our service, that's through an online application, and then they contact you directly with that. And then the 1916 bursary, apply now, don't apply now. Apply now, hopefully in a week. So it is just, it's not open just yet. It will open soon enough. There's a little bit of delay on it, so not on our fault, Maynooth University's fault, but we will apologise on behalf of the 1916 bursary. So yeah, keep an eye out on the 1916 bursary webpage there for that application form to come live, and once that's live you can access it. It is a great bursary, but just to be aware, there is only 10, in and around 10 places per year, so just so that you're aware of that. But you do receive those the 5,000 per year, 2,500 in semester 1 and 2,500 in semester 2, and there is a criteria, so do have a look at that. And you know, you can always apply, and you could be, you know, you could be chosen. So how to apply there, you can go onto that 1916 bursary and have a look. That page, as we speak, gives you the criteria and can kind of give you that kind of knowledge about whether your particular situation fits the bill. But there is a targeted group that we look at. So the first one is that socioeconomic disadvantaged, first-time mature students, lone parents, students with disabilities, Irish travellers, further education award holders, ethnic minorities, and in the care of state. So do have a look at the rest, you know, on that page and the details that they were looking for, and, you know, apply for it. Sure, look, they can always say no, and sure, you're in the same position now. So what does the 1916 bursary do? It's pretty cool because it doesn't count towards your income from Susie. Happy days, we're all worried about that. It doesn't count for towards your social welfare payment, so it isn't means tested. You can get Susie, social welfare and the bursary all together. and you can get SAF with the 1916 bursary. Sorry, you can get SUSI and the social welfare income with the bursary, I meant to say, and you can get the SAF with the 1916 bursary. The only thing that you can't do with the 1916 bursary is get it in tangent with another scholarship. Okay, so it's the only one. It doesn't like sharing. Okay, it's put a ring on it. You know, once you have the 1916, that's it. You ain't going nowhere else with no one else. Now, the university supports there. We have student services. That's where me and Ruth sit. We're not in the Access office, surprise, surprise. We're actually in the student services building. Follow the yellow feet. And it's a lovely building. And it's got fantastic people in it. It's got the hub, which we talked about, the short-term loan. It's got our boss Colleen, who is great at if you've if you've a couple of issues and you want to speak to somebody, and we might like even bring Colleen in to help us out with some of the situations. And I'm gone blank. Why am I gone blank? I don't know anyone. Who else have we got in the student services? We've got the health centre.
Oh, counselling.
Sorry, counselling. Sorry, I just went blank there for a second.
It's okay. She's going to be giving talks at orientation next week about all the services, but she'll have slides to remind her of their faces.
Sorry.
It happens to us all at this time of the year. We get so overwhelmed with talks that we kind of sometimes forget things.
I'll go back. Okay, so in student services building, we have myself and Ruth. We have the hub. We have our chaplain, Kieran, who's great and always has a cup of tea on if you want to have a good chat with him.
And we have he's not in the building, he's in the arts block.
Oh, sorry, he's in the arts block.
With the kettle, and we don't get invited for a cup of tea, only students, because you're the important ones.
Yeah. And he has we have a counselling service free of charge as well. Then we have that health centre that I spoke about earlier with with Sandra, our psychiatric nurse, and then our 2 nurses and our GP who's on his way or her way. His way.
It'll be good to have a bit of gender balance. At the moment, Kieran, the chaplain, is the only male in student services as of today, and I think he'd be really excited to have another man working with us. It's good to have that gender balance.
Yeah. So we have, student services are there for the students. I don't know if we look scary. I hope we don't. I feel like I'm very young looking, so I'm non-frightening. So come and have a chat with any of us. We're there for you guys. Without you guys, we wouldn't be there, and we wouldn't be in this job if we didn't like supporting and helping students and seeing them get through their university journey. That's our favourite thing to do. And then fees and grants office. Obviously, if you have any issues with fees and stuff like that, you would contact them directly. And then the academic advisory office, Rose there is fantastic. She's brilliant. If you have any issues, like you don't know if you have enough credits, you don't know what to do, what's going on, if you want to defer for any reason, anything like that, she is absolutely brilliant to have a chat with, and she's lovely. And that academic advisory office sounds like really serious, and don't get me wrong, she's very professional, she's brilliant at her job, but she's nice and she's approachable. So do understand that she's not the principal of your school, that kind of way. She's the opposite. So definitely go to her if you have any questions. And then here are some great little websites. My favourites are Citizens Information, which I use daily. Threshold, of course, are for the downtrodden rentees that are having problems with their landlords. They're great for supporting you guys, so make sure you know that they're there. Residential Tenancy Board there as well can support you guys. And you have your revenue, so that's looking for your I hope you have all set up your My account, because you can do it online and get your P21s or your statement of liability and all that kind of stuff easily enough for SUSI. And then you have free legal aid advice centres, which I think me and Ruth have said many times. Hopefully none of you will ever need it, but it is there, and they give free legal aid, free legal advice. And then you have workplace relations commissions for your employment rights. And I heard in an MSU talk that you have rights to a receipt to representation if you are part of the student unions, which you are automatically. So that's good to know as well. So yeah, that's our service. You can contact us through our Money Matters webpage. We were doing drop-in services. We're not doing them at the moment, but we do have a general's query form if you want to ask a question. We are on the ground floor of the student service building, but at the moment we're doing the majority of our meetings by phone or Teams, but let us know if there's any reason that doesn't suit you, and we're happy to have students come and meet with us. And then that 1916 bursary slide again, it closes there at 4 p.m. on the 15th of October, just for you guys to be aware of that. And that's some of in general what Maynooth has for you guys. So you've mathematical help there, the library, who are great, by the way. So if you're doing an essay and you don't know what kind of authors to look up, they're amazing. Just say the topic and they'll give you several different people, and all you have to do is go around, get the books then, and your happy days are brilliant. Writing as well, if you're struggling with that academic writing, which is difficult to get a handle on sometimes in first year, they're brilliant. When I was in university, I went to them all the time. I was like, am I doing it right? And I got advice on how to do that. And then your MAP advisor, of course, reach out and get that support. Even if it's for someone to turn around and tell you, no, actually, you're doing everything right. I mean, that in itself is support. And money matters for us, of course. Money does matter, we know it. And we want to help and support you guys. And then the Student Central there. And there's another slide here with the laptop loan to remind you guys, and that technology transition program, which you can, I think you would have got information from your ambassadors. If not, do have a chat with them. It's about just giving you advice on how to use technology for Maynooth University, etc. Is that okay, guys?
As Gemma said, email the Access Office with any queries on those. Email us with anything financial. We'll be delighted to hear from you.
So now you have I know that Ruth has been typing away. But if there's any questions, you want to put up your hands, ask us away. There's two of us here. If there's anything, very personal that you don't feel comfortable to say or put in the chat, do, put in a query form if you feel like it can be answered that way, or, you're more than welcome to make an appointment with us, a one-to-one service, and we can go through your situation personally. But if there's any just general questions now, that'd be great. Sorry, Ruth.
No, I was just going to say, just so you're comfortable to come and talk to us. As I said, we're not scary, we're non-judgmental, but also we will treat your information as confidential. So you needn't be worried about discussing your business with us, because we're not going to be talking about you.